Welcome back to Supercoach Masters, guys. I am Jordy and I am with the scumbag we all know and love,
Matty Zeebs.
And
Thanks for the intro, Jules. Nice scumbag moment there. All right, so this is good straight off the bat.
Straight off the bat, scumbag.
What are we talking today about, Jules? I think we're talking about...
This is very important, okay? So I know a lot of players have looked at their teams and go, yeah, this is fucking sick. But what we really talk about is the buys, because these buys are going to affect you so much. It's what will make you having a good first half of the year and dropping off, or it's what makes the people that... Usually all the people that go in the top thousands of Supercoach really play in their buys well, and... that's me, that's him, and that's going to be us. So we're going to play in the buys well, whether it's for league or whether it's for overall. We got you covered, guys. So
definitely for league. Look, I think overall is if you're going to know by round 12 if you're anywhere close to the top 100, which is what we want to pay attention to. However, on the bragging rights against your mates, what I hate the most is I would prefer to play good teams in your league, like for example me and you. If we were to verse each other in the bye, it's always fun, because even the bottom teams can beat the top players in the bye, and that can upset
Now, what you're saying is I prefer always go for league, not league, overall. Go for overall, because this bloke, one time he had his name in the top 10 of super coaches in the Herald Sun, back when newspapers were still a thing. And I just never fucking heard the end of it. So, play for league. I still got
play for overall. Play for overall. I still got the newspaper article.
We don't need to see it. We don't need to hear about it.
I'll show you. If anyone wants to show, I'll show you my credentials. I've been in top 10, finished 13th.
So yeah, he's done that, and that's why you should play for overall. Because if you do well overall, you can rub that into your mate's face for the rest of your life, and you fucking never hear the end of it. Like you think you do. But then, when you least expect it, you go, remember that time I was in top 10? I was in the Herald Sun. I got my name in the Herald Sun.
I want to address. I know this is not about what Supercoach, but it is, in a way, because I finished about 600th last year, and where's my keyring Herald Sun? I know you're giving keyrings away.
That was the year before. You didn't be top 100.
So, all of a sudden, I'm not getting keyrings.
You've got to be better. Anyway, and this is how we're going to get him better. We're going to talk about the buys, because he has not seen the buys. I told him about the buys. Then he understands maybe why I got some of the players I do. So this is why it's really important.
It's definitely made me rethink what my structure is. We had some comments on some videos with, Grundy and Darcy Cameron having the same buys.
Yep.
If you're going to have them in the ruck, which is what I started with, which was, thinking Grundy and Darcy Cameron, which leaves you with 0 rucks. But we all know what the buys are. The buys, they play the best 18 players out of the 30 that you've got on the field, or the best 22, sorry. But I saw something here, George, round 13.
Now, this is what we want to talk about the most, guys, because usually they have two really shit teams like Gold Coast and Port Adelaide beforehand. And no one really has Port Adelaide players, but Gold Coast, sometimes they play their game over.
They had it in China, the China game, yeah.
This time they have a bye, then they have that. So they have the round 12 bye, which has 4 teams. Round 13 bye has 2 teams. And round 14 byes has 6 teams. And round 15 has 6 teams. So what that means is how we can approach this to kind of better ourselves is we need to know if Herald Sun is going to best 18 scorers for Geelong
I'm pretty sure,
and Gold Coast.
I'm pretty sure when it was the Port Adelaide
Geelong. Was it best 18?
No.
So that might mean for that bye round, it's not best 18, it's your full team. So
I think it will be a full team. If you're having Suns and Cats, which is the round 13 bye, those players in your team will be on the bench, and you need to field someone and field the full team, is what I'm suspecting, because that's what happened last year, or the last time they did that.
It's a bit weird though, now that they have a big bye before that one. We got to pay real close attention to when this information drops, because if that isn't, I'll be loading up with Geelong players. I'll be loading up with Gold Coast players, because on that 1 week where there's only 2 byes, we can afford to take some L's there, because we have enough players to field 18 easy for only 2 teams out. But when there's 6 teams out, and that's going to be a bit of a nightmare, especially when we tell you some of the midfielders that in a group that are not going to be getting games together.
Now, usually by the end of the bye rounds, you should have a full team of premiums. You should. Yeah, because that's normally how, like any good super coach, if you're making sideways trades and, you see, I don't know, Liam Baker get 160 and you think you're going to get him, and then he gets you 70 for the rest of the season, you're an idiot. So what we're saying is you should have a full team by the end of the buys. Because again, I'm sure they're going to give us trades. Hopefully they give us 35 trades again.
I want less trades, but...
Well, less trades separate the boys from the men, really.
Yeah.
But if they do give us, which I'm sure they've given us three trades in a row. So
and probably the boosts as well, I imagine.
Yeah, maybe the boosts. Well, the boosts only happened because of the COVID, I think, because people were going
Well, they just gave it as a precaution in case there was COVID, but they very well could give it again.
Well, if you've picked your team well enough to the point where you have only maybe used 6 to 8 trades out of the 35 that you got up to this point, use them all, because that's when you're going to, because all these other players, they probably will burn every trade they got up until this point.
Yeah.
But you'd want to be comfortable to pretty much do 3 trades. I remember Jamie, he did 5 trades against Jordy just to really piss him off. Just 5 trades just to beat him.
People need to do 5 trades against me.
Well, that's right.
That's it.
People needed to do 5.
So let's get into the first bye, round 12. It's got Lions, Swans, Saints, and Freo. The big ones in there is going to be Dunkley in the forward line, Neil in the midfield.
Sinclair. You got Sinclair
in the back line. Freo, if you get Brayshaw in the midfield, maybe there. Swans, we told you not to pick Heaney, so you don't have to worry about that. Any other Swanee players that you can think of? Lizard, Lloyd in the back line.
I think maybe if Luke Parker again gets his DP status in the forward line, he'll be a highly
He'd be someone you'd be picking after round 12, I'd imagine, anyway.
But no, look, I think it's safe to... So based on those players, I think it might be
Jack
safe.
Steele in the midfield.
Well, yeah, so there
Jack
you go.
Steele.
He'll be a number 1 pick,
So first thing, when you look at your team, if you have a Lockie Neal in there, and you have a Jack Steele in there, that's 2 premiums there. Most of us are going to have Dunkley in the the forward line, so that's another one there. And then maybe Sinclair in the back line. So...
by saying that, George, I would think that those 4 players that are premiums across, because I don't think there's going to be a lot of Supercoach players that are going to get Swans premiums from get-go. No, I don't think there's a lot of...
I don't think there's many Swan premiums that we all like. There'll be 1 or 2 that get Lloyd, but maybe that's about it.
I don't think Freo the same thing. Maybe Brayshaw and Fife.
And Sarong, which I talked about in my last video of the breakouts.
Yeah,
but
so I think... But it will be very highly unlikely good Supercoaches will be picking all of them. But the ones that are popular would probably be Neil, Dunkley, I would say Sinclair, and Jack Steele.
Jack Steele, definitely. We can cover 4. We can cover 4, especially if it's best 18. I think it will be. Yeah. Now, a lot of people don't really think about buys too much, but I really like to have most of my premiums playing in the very last buy. So
why, George?
So this is why I usually do that. I have a lot of my money and premiums in the last buy, rookies and so forth, because throughout the entire series of the buy, I'm fine. 4 teams out, I'm fine. I got, but when it comes to the last buy, we've slowly using a couple of trades here and there to make sure we're going to be good for the last buy. We can't use a couple of trades here and there for the first buy, second buy, third buy. But I like the teams with the last buy. It's worked amazingly for me over my Supercoach journey. I recommend, a lot of people don't do this. If you're leaning towards one premium over the other, which I have been, wherever it was like Darcy Parish or otherwise, I'd be going for the one that has the buy in the last round.
All right, so let's go through round 12 buys are the Lions, the Swans, the Saints, Freo. All right, I think to pick those 4 players, you're kind of safe.
That's pretty safe.
Only the fact that we know that they're going to be the high score players, and we know that a lot of Supercoaches will have them. So me versus Jordy will have the same players missing out, just in hindsight. Yep. That Dunkley, Neil.
But this one, because I've seen Lions there, it's maybe less likely to pick Lockie Neal.
The reason why you would say that is because you would want to trade him in after they've had their bye.
Yeah, because pretty much, if you're getting any of these players, they're all missing 1 game. Any player you trade in after the bye, that's a game up. So ideally, I'd like to get Steele beforehand too, after his bye, but he's just too much of a good price.
Too much of a good price to pass up.
This first buy is definitely one of the reasons why I'm leaning towards another premium around that area other than Lockie Neal.
And this is another probably reason.
Even though I love Lockie Neal, I can't wait to get him.
And this is why I probably would wait for Sinclair as well.
It's very, very good. Yeah, you should have raised that point.
Why wait for... Well, if I knew these buys were happening...
Should have looked at the buys earlier, champ.
Well, look, it just goes to show me, in the last video I was talking about how Sinclair we shouldn't get from get-go. Here could be another reason why.
This is another good reason why. Next one is round 13, Suns and Cats. So if what we suspect and they're not going to
You're
be...
going to play a full team.
Yep. Then we don't want to overload it because you're going to have to play your best 22. So, but if they do...
You'll be safe with maybe 1 or 2 players out of this team.
If you...
Because by this time, by round 13...
You should have cover for a Took Miller and you should have one cover for a Tom Stewart, barring any injuries. If it's best 18 and not best 22 because it's a bye, then I would be like, if you're 50-50 on any Gold Coast or Geelong players other than them two, go for it. But there's not any other ones that I would want in my team other than the rookies.
So I don't know. Well, look, Jack Bowers is a mid-price player that we're going to start with, and Jordy and myself have made it clear. Take time to get him in your team still right now. Now, this is a type of player where Jack Bowers is not going to be in our team best 22, correct?
No, he's not going to be, unless Supercoach gives us like 28 trades and no boosts, and maybe someone averaging 80 is going to have to be in our final team.
But I would see that this is, Geelong's bye. This is the time to get Sinclair. A nice stepping stone. Jack Bowers would have made his ceiling money.
Yep.
Get him out for a Sinclair or for maybe a Jake Lloyd that's found his way into position. Yep. Someone that's already had their bye.
Get as many premiums as you can after they've played their bye. I can't stress that enough because you're getting in people that are not missing a game. So if Matty gets no premiums in over the byes and I'm getting in about, say, 4-5 premiums, that's 5 premiums that are not going to miss a game where all his has missed the game already.
And obviously missing games is going to result to high points that you want to go for the overall.
Absolutely. So even in round 11 before the byes, I suggest making a bit of a kitty of cash.
Knowing that you're going to be spending it.
Or round 12, because, then that's the perfect time to bring in Lockie. That's a perfect time to bring in Sinclair.
Yeah. Now, moving to round 14, we've got Crows, the Pies, Hawks, Essendon, Melbourne and Eagles.
Now, there's always one shit week in byes, and I reckon this is the one.
This is the one, yeah. Like, you've got your Lairds, you've got Pies, you've got Tom Mitchells, you've got your Hawk rookies that you want to maybe get.
Sicily in the back line.
Yeah, which is, the Hawks, this is the time to probably get rid of your...
Warples.
your Warples or your Josh Wards or whoever, Cooper Steve, whoever's playing for Hawthorn that's making you money as a rookie, because I'm sure there's going to be heaps.
On your Ben Hobbs.
Ben Hobbs is a stepping stone that Geordie liked. Anthony McDonald, Tipper Woody, he could, he's $200,000. He could, whoever wants him. I'm not saying I'm getting him, but
not saying that either.
Just saying, then you got...
There's plenty of options here. Let's look at the midfield just alone for a second. We have Laird, Tom Mitchell. We have Merritt and Parrish.
Petrarca,
Oliver, and
Eagle. That's Dom Sheed if you like him, but that
you don't like him, and that's just the midfield, and that's going to be So you're going to have to pick up the slack as well. Let's look at the back line. Who's missing? Crows, Dawson, absolutely. Pies, we got Nick Dacos.
I don't know if you
no one else. Hawthorn, you got Sicily missing. Essen, you got Redmond, Ridley missing. Melbourne, you got Salem and May missing.
Eagles, missing. Duggan missing. Barras.
Duggan and Barras, absolutely. Yeah. So we haven't even gone to the forward line yet, and that's a lot of players out. Let's talk about the rucks in that round.
Yeah, the rucks in that round, obviously, clearly...
You're going to want... it's...
In this case, because it's the best 18, you want at least one ruck.
You
want at least one ruck.
But you got Grundy and Cameron, who are a very popular selection. Both have their bye. Riley O'Brien, no one's getting him, but he's got the bye. Ned Reeves has his bye.
Gawn's in there too.
Draper has his bye. Maxi Gawn, obviously, and whoever's rucking at West Coast, if Nad Newey's injured, probably Oscar Allen or Vardy or whoever they got running around there. But a lot of problems there when it comes to the ruck. That's when you want to look at maybe bringing in a Marshall. So if you have a Darcy Cameron and you want to flip into the forward line, if you have enough cover in your forward line, bring in Marshall. That could be the time. But Marshall's a pretty good price at $500,000, so he could be going up by then. So this is where super coaches really need a...
What we don't want... this is right. So based on your never pick again players to start with in the last one, you said Jared Witts. Yeah. Now, Jared Witts, if we suspect that the Suns and Cats buy in round 13, you have to play a full 22.
Yeah.
You're down a ruckman already.
Yeah.
So is another reason why, George, not to get Jared Witts.
There was too many reasons anyway to not get Witts. There shouldn't be no Jared Witts out there. He will not be the top 2 ruckman by the end of the year.
But a lot of people that saying call bullshit on Jordy and they still like Jared Witts based on whatever he done for you and how he makes you feel this year.
If he makes you feel good, though, do it.
I'm just saying, another reason, on the subject that we're on, which is the buys, round 13 buy, if we suspect that these two teams are only 2 teams that are not playing that game and we still have to man our best 22, you're down a ruck already. So You know what I mean? So it's
And I don't think Madden's going to be covering your slap unless you got a Sava Radigalia if he's named round 1 and he can pinch hit. But
he's not pinch hitting because he's also in the same ruck.
he's not pinch hitting at all,
what Jordy just said
guys.
is irrelevant. Cats and Suns rucks, stay away.
Maybe in mid-season trades and he goes to Port Adelaide.
Oh, George.
Anyway, sorry guys. Let's just get back onto it.
So look, so round 14 is a pretty tough round
It's a tough
across
one.
all board. You know, now round 15 is Blues, North,
Now,
Port
last
Adelaide.
bye round, you want to be bringing in all the other teams from the bye. So, as Matty was saying, Blues.
Blues, North, Port Adelaide, Doggies, Giants and Tigers. Now, I think our forward line might be a little bit stumped there. I don't know.
Depends how many Rosies and Butters
How many
you got.
Roses and Butters and Himmelbergs and Tarantos and, you know, if Bailey Smiths and Bonts and Libbers get in
This
the
could be
forward
a good time to upgrade your Hopper that's in your team.
Yeah, who definitely should be in your team, yeah.
Yeah, so Hopper, when he comes to this buy, perfect to upgrade to one of the... If you don't have Laird, if you don't have, say...
Oliver, Petrarca, you know, people that are going to score you. Yeah, because at this
How's
stage...
our midfield looking?
What's that?
How's our midfield looking in this buy? So there's a Bonds McRae's. You've got this last buy. I love people who have the premiums that have the last buy. So big reasons. The Giants, they've got Tom Green, another good reason to get on him. Himmelberg, if he's playing defence and you want to start with him, he's a great pick. But as I said, if you watch the other videos, he's been training in the forward line. Tigers, Taranto, there's no one... If you don't have Taranto, you didn't start with him, I'd very much doubt that you'd be bringing him after his bye. The midfield doesn't look like it's going to take too much of a hit, Champ. What do you think?
No, I don't think so. I think what you really look out for number 15 as far as value or far as coaches' choices picks are probably Port Adelaide and Doggies, because there will be a few Doggies fans out there, and I think the way that they play and the way that I'm sure this is round 12, so there should be 2 upgrades as players will get that DP status, and we all know what Doggies are. So assuming that the Doggies are going to go back into the forward line, the Swans would already be back in the forward line. It's mainly Port Adelaide and the Doggies, I think, for the forward line that is going to get really affected in that last round.
Yeah. Maybe this is the time. So I like Butters, I like Rosie for this reason. I like the guys that have the last buy. You've had 3 rounds prior of buys to start bringing in premiums that are going to be playing. So the last buy is generally the best one because you're really adding in all those premiums that are getting games.
And if you've got those 3 trays and this is the time to really really make your Supercoach team what it's going to be going for the next. Because usually after the buy rounds, you shouldn't be making any much trades at all. Like it should be done. You should be happy with it. You know, if you can afford to do a couple of tweaks here and there. But I think the buy rounds definitely for the rucks, stay away from Wits and Geelong. I think the buy rounds for the midfield, it's going to be hard in round 14 if you're going to load up, and you might ignore this, you know, video and think, geez, you know, I'm going to get who I want to get, and you're stuck, and maybe other players are going to be in that same boat, but this is to keep you in touch with the average scores that you want to be getting. And again, we're picking players with our brains, not our hearts.
Yeah.
You know, so you might love all your doggy, you might love all your, you know, your Crows or your Pies or your Essendon, but that round 14 is going to separate the rest.
Yeah, round 14 is going to be a lot of holes in everyone's midfield. So if you
And
50-50 about Laird and 50-50 about Tom Mitchell, 50-50 about Oliver and Petrarca or any of those midfield boys, it's time to maybe lean towards the other one. I know I was thinking about Mills, but then I saw he had the first buy, and I'm like, well, I like the last buy. Bond's around the same price. Same with Lockie Neal. So we didn't talk about Mills in the midfield, but if a lot of people have Mills, which I like as a pick, I rather Bond purely based on the buy, and it makes a huge difference. It's not just he's going to miss one game now, he's going to miss one earlier. It's a lot different. So now there are some people when the buys come around, they've got injuries or whatnot. Now, would you recommend someone making one trade to not get a 0?
It depends where you're at. You know, obviously it's all case by case in that sense, because, you know, you can have a really great run against your players in the leagues and they all got, you know, you can lose 3 games in a row and have a really good team, or you can win 3 games in a row and have a really shit team based on your opponent in leagues. As far as how we explain what to do for the overall score,
got a bit of fluffy.
Thanks, George, but okay. But as far as the overall score, I think we stay away from Geelong and
okay.
and the Suns. That's assuming that
So
we have to play a full team.
based on that, you think maybe Tom Stewart's not going to be a good pick or a good pick?
I think Tom Stewart will be. I think he'll be good.
Good.
Because he's going to cover every other bye where there's 4. So if you can afford maybe 1 or 2 players there, I think in Tom Stewart and Took Miller and Jared, not Jared, besides the ruck, because the ruck is no good.
Yeah.
But Took Miller and
There's no one really else. Would you advocate for a Hawkins?
Jules, we're not talking about Hawker. Maybe the Bows. I think this is where you get rid of all the Suns and the Cats rookies that you might have.
This might be perfect time to upgrade Bows, depending on the thing. But who knows? Bows could be running around the VFL. So
Yeah. I could doubt that.
yeah. So that's pretty much it, guys. What I stress is you look closely at them. Look at the premiums because every person has. Oh, should I get Parrish? Should I get this one? I say Parrish because I really like Parrish, and then I saw his
buys in the
his buys with Laird and Mitchell and
Oliver,
and Oliver and all those guys. So I still might get him, but
maybe after the buy.
yeah, but he's such a good price now, because he has an injury affected 50 in his name, and he should be about 60.
I want to talk about me personally in round 12, George. Me personally, I'm thinking about Neil. I'm definitely getting Steele. As far as the premiums there, and obviously Dunkley. So Neil, Dunkley, Steele, a lock, pretty much locks. If not,
Neil's a lock.
No, the other 2 are.
Yeah, okay, so that's understandable.
But Neil
will be amazing to maybe do some DPPs and trade him in around 13.
Thinking about this, I was just clicking now. I just got rid of Neil for Bond right now, just mucking around.
You didn't even like Bond.
This is exactly that. Did you hear what he said? I don't like Bont because that's my heart. I don't like him. You're right.
You said you hate how he scores high and low and high and low, and you would never start the year.
Okay, this Bont can easily be a McRae, Jordy. Okay, I like McRae. There you go. I got a McRae.
There you go. All the people back in his team.
So based on that, I don't think the round 12, because again, it's only scoring your best 18. I think we'll be safe with round 12 unless you pick some really weird players and premiums across the board. And you're stuck up on
Brayshaws and Mills.
Daniel Riches and Mills and Brayshaws and Sarongs and Sean Darcy's in the ruck. Roll Marshall's in the ruck.
I like Royal Marshall.
Royal Marshall, but
now that could be a good chance for a lot of people in the ruck thinking, "I don't know what to do." Time maybe for a Tim English because Tim English has got the last bye. He's a good 1-2 punch. I reckon he's got a good chance to be a top 3 or 4 ruckman. Good chance.
And he's got and he's got a good chance to be a DP, so you can actually trade him down. Maybe put Taranto.
You'd have to play a fair bit of forward line. I mean,
30%, 36%.
That's a big. Because English started as a dingo last year, so I don't think he'll be ever getting forward personally. And if he is, he's probably not going to be a pick that you'd be wanted to
get anyway.
So, look, guys, I would have a look at the ruck real carefully because if you get zero.
What about you, Jules? People want to know your opinion
on.
Based on these buys, how would you pick your structure?
Well, I've already changed up my structure. With looking at Neil, Mills and Parrish and decided to go with one of the doggies instead.
Yep.
And as for the ruck, I am not 100% sure.
I don't think anyone's 100% sure, so that's fine.
But I'm thinking Grundy and Cameron is manageable because it's your best 18, and especially if you can flick Cameron forward and you have enough coverage. Because I don't think I have too many players missing in the forward line. Of that buy.
Well, based on that round 14, round 14 is where your midfield and rucks will get destroyed if you're going for Grundy's, Gorns, Darcy, Camerons. Who else is in there? Who are Drapers? No one's getting Nat Nui's, Rolly O'Brien's. Not to mention all the midfields. So that buy round is definitely going to make me think, well, I need to make sure I'm going to cover my midfield.
At least if you got a cover, say you got a good 6 and the defence and the forward line, it makes you a little bit safer to go for some of those ones you're 50-50. I mean, if Matty's really got his heart set on Laird and he doesn't want to really, put that into one of the other players or something like that, then you got to make sure that your forward line's going to be adequately covered. I think my forward line and defence are pretty safe. That being said, Dacos is in the back line and so is Salem. So we're gonna have to do a bit of tinkering to get how you like it. Maybe, hopefully, Himmelberg trades with the defenders and not the forwards because he would be an amazing solution. But this is a headache only if you want to be an absolute top Supercoach player and get the jump on everyone else. And I recommend you do.
You need to think with your brain, not your heart, in this sense. You know, to plan for the buys and to keep those average scores that you want, keep going, and not just find yourself stuck with...
Horn Francis got the last buy, guys, so just...
How many people? But in all fairness, how many people just give up on Supercoach because they've got 8 people missing in a buy, and then they're
I think more people give up on Supercoach when they run out of trades. So, or miss the finals, but I don't know what that feels like. So.
Yeah, me either. So yeah.
But if you guys won't miss the finals either, if you keep on sticking with us throughout the season, we're going to be rolling out weekly videos summarising all the Supercoach performances, the duds, the studs, the best, the bad,
the bubble
and our trades and the bubbles and what our trades might be. Subscribe for all that stuff, guys, because we're going to be pumping out a shit ton of amazing content, and I guarantee you're going to shit all over everyone. And I'm so grateful for Matty not dropping the R word on this podcast so far. Nice. Sweet, cool. I thought you were going to do it. No,
I did it. All right, guys. On that note, keep an eye for the buy rounds and ask us questions. Or even topics as far as what we want to address for upcoming videos.
Take a look at the buys. I know not many people have, even this superstar hasn't, until I said, Champ, look at this. And he said,
my team's changed again.
But
for the better.
Keeps on getting better.
Yeah.
All right, guys, let us know if you have any questions. Subscribe if you're new here, and we'll catch you on the next one.
All right, Joel, see you then.
See you then.